Well, welcome to a conversation that I am thrilled to be having with our United Church in Walpole Nominating Committee. This is a fantastic team of three folks who have worked hard over the past few weeks to put together our very first board slate under our new governance model here at United Church in Walpole. And I'm thrilled to be sitting down with these really inspiring women today to talk through what their vision of this board is and will be, and also that really substantial process that they went through to kind of bring us to this point and put together that list of 7 diverse and representative names of our congregation. So thank you for tuning in to this special conversation, and thank you, Sharon, Marjorie, and Shirley, for sitting down with me today. I'm hoping that for folks who don't know you, I know a lot of folks know you, but there are some folks in our congregation who probably don't know you very well. If we could just quickly go around and if you all could just introduce yourselves and your relationship to United Church in Walpole.
Well, I'll start with me. I'm Sharon Carlton, and I actually grew up in the United Church. Terry and I were married here, and we lived in Walpole for a long time. Raised our children there until about high school years, and they grew up in the church as well. So we've had a long connection and continue to have a long connection. It's worth the commute.
I'm Marjorie Dold, and I also grew up in the United Church in Walpole. And we go back a few generations. My grandparents moved here from New Hampshire. They were involved in the church, as were my parents were married there, and I was also married there, and we grew, our children grew up in the church as well.
I'm Shirley Lilly, and my longevity is not quite as extensive. It's been 40 years at United Church in Walpole, 40 wonderful years. And I've just been involved in singing in the choir from the moment I came in the door, and serving on outreach and justice and witness. These are my passions, and I just love being at United Church with my church family that is so nourishing and welcoming.
Great. Well, thank you all for your long involvement at United Church, going back for some of you many generations and decades. And also thank you for serving in this really important role. So you all have seen a lot of the history of United Church, and I'm curious, what does this new shift that we're taking together as a community mean to you? And especially, what does this board represent to you? What are the hopes that you have for this body that you've put together?
Well, I guess I can, sorry, Marjorie, start
Okay.
off, I was gonna say, that I was excited when the model of governance was presented at the 2019 retreat, and then made a reality at our annual meeting in February. For me, this was it is really long overdue with this new governance, given where we are in the circumstances with the church and pandemic, et cetera. And I believe this is going to serve us very well, and excited to be part of this process.
I would say that it's been really interesting to read and talk with so many people about their ideas for our church building, and also like their big dreams for taking our ministries on the road and into the world. So that's been cool.
That's great.
And it feels like a fresh time for us to continue what we doing so well and grow maybe to reach the community more, and work within our own church family, even in a wider way.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the process, because you all, I heard a little bit of what you all were doing, but I know you guys were doing it was like the tip of the iceberg, what I was aware of. So share with us what was underneath the surface of the water. How much work did you all do? And how was the process of getting to the point where you guys were able to share a board slate with the congregation?
I'd like to share a thought that Barbara Chauncey passed along in her email after the slate was announced. And she said, talk about building the plane while flying it. You had to invent your process while executing it. And exactly that's what we did. There was no playbook to tell us how to do this. We spent so many hours on Zoom working on the process and reaching out. In fact, we started with thank you, Anna, for helping to put that survey together initially. And we did get responses from that, not as many as we had hoped. And then we had great source from people in our congregation nominating others. But we also, the three of us, came up with quite a few names on our own just by contemplating, looking at lists, and we ended up with 57 people. So, think of what it took to get to 7 with 57 people. And Sharon and Marjorie, I don't know if you want to talk any further about the process because it was extensive.
It was extensive, and I've got to say that one of my most favorite and learning parts of this was to have the opportunity to speak with the people that we spoke with, to hear from others in voice, people who were nominating others for positions, and learn all of the attributes and skills and talents that we actually have that are quietly living in our congregation. It was really exciting to get to know more people that way.
When we put together this survey, it was more like what we wanted to see, what was in the hearts of the candidates, not necessarily, just their connection to the town or the church. And we were looking for people who valued the tradition, but were also forward thinking. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So do you all have any advice for our new board slate and what you hope that they will do together for all of us? It's okay. It's a hard question.
it is a hard question. First, I feel that this is a diverse group and we worked hard to make it that way. And as we know, when you first come together as a group, you have to learn how to work with each other. This is essential. And I just feel confident that this slate, this group of people will work well with each other, and they will have the vision that we need to look into the future. I think the church is again at a crossroads, and these are important times, and we know we've learned a lot from the pandemic about reaching out, and but we need to reach out in new ways, and I just feel confident that that they will do this. This is not your cabinet meeting. This is new. This is thinking in different ways, and to bring about God's work in the world and in our church.
And I would add to that, I think that Shirley, your statement is right on, and the thinking as well as listening to and with each other is something that we feel this board is going to be able to do very collaboratively and take us forward to where we want to go.
Yeah, the diversity of this board is maybe the coolest thing, because it goes generational, just life experiences. Some people have been with the church for a long time. Some people are rather new. Some people have children, some do not. I mean, it just kind of is a great mix, we feel. But some of the things that they seem to have in common would be their collaborative spirit. They're, sort of visionaries. They're they're obviously a generational group, which we think is great. They seem hopeful, but yet deliberate. You know, it's a great mix of qualities.
That's great. Yeah. And awesome. Anything else that you want the congregation to know about this process or about this group of folks before we make sure that everyone knows to join us at the congregational meeting Sunday after church at 11 a.m. It's probably going to be just a 10-minute business meeting, but then after that, we'll have the opportunity, if you have time, to stay on and share your hopes, your dreams with the new board. I think one of the important things I hope the board does is constantly have its finger on the pulse of the congregation and is constantly listening to input of the congregation intentionally. So here's our first opportunity to do that. We hope you join us for this meeting to talk to the board and to have that dialogue. But anything else that you want to make sure that this board or that our congregation knows about what this board means and about this big important meeting coming up?
I think it's an exciting time. I like your metaphor of the butterfly, that we are emerging new from so much, obviously, over the past year, but also from our history, and take what we do really well, transform it into where we want to be. And this board, they've got a terrific opportunity to take us there. I'm really excited about it.
Sharon, that was beautifully put, and I share your thoughts. One of the things I think we need to do is to keep this board in prayer, and to support them every way we can on this mission. It's just so vital.
I think in a lot of ways our church is already edging in this direction, and that's why it's so important to take this, sort of step that we've all decided on together as a group. And I just think, there'll obviously be some time required to collaborate with each other and listen and kind of lay some ideas out there and talk things over. But it is very exciting for everybody, I think, at church right now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for joining me today for a little Zoom time. And again, we're hoping that the whole congregation, members and non-members, are welcome to join us at our special congregational meeting this Sunday at 11 a.m. after worship on Zoom. Check your email for the details. But we hope that everyone comes. Short meeting, 10 minutes. I guarantee you, unless something crazy happens, this will be a 10-minute business meeting. And then the rest of the time, awesome opportunity to get to know our board members and share your vision for our church so that they can hear from you directly. So please join us. And thank you, Sharon, Marjorie, and Shirley, for coming on and joining me today.